Malice, minions, and a mastermind intelligence, beholders can fill almost any villain slot in any campaign. The cold, wet air sticks to the back of your neck as you walk further into the perfectly carved tunnel. Without warning, your magical wards fizzle out, leaving you exposed. Your flaming axe goes cold. The hallway is plunged into darkness as an eerie laughter echoes out from the shadows. You spin around to face your death. 10 eyes on wriggling stalks frame a wide, distended smile as your new master stares you down with its enormous central eye. For those of you that don't know what this thing is, buckle up and I'll show you why it's on the cover of one of the largest D&D publications. A beholder is a 10-tentacled floating orb of flesh. At the end of each tentacle is an eye, and each eye has a different ray that it can shoot out, doing different effects to the characters or to the environment around it. The beholder moves around by hovering slowly through its lair or just outside of it. One of the most iconic things about the beholder is its central eye. Not the way it looks, although that is absolutely terrifying, but the fact that it shoots out a cone of anti-magic. No spells can be cast in it, magic items don't work there. It is a spellcaster's bane. Even for a high-level party, they have difficulty dealing with this anti-magic ability. Usually, a beholder will either build its own lair or steal it from some other inhabitants. When it does, it likes to drill holes in the ceiling with its disintegration ray so it can make a quick getaway if it has to. If it built it on its own, it might take this a step further, making the only entrance a long vertical shaft that is difficult to get down if you can't hover like the beholder can. Beholders' personalities are extremely narcissistic. They see themselves as the pinnacle of evolution, the best and most powerful thing that could possibly ever exist. If it can get over its narcissism for a little bit, then it becomes even more dangerous, and it turns into what is known as an eye tyrant, a beholder that commands legions of minions to do its bidding. And in this case, a minion is anything weaker than it is. One of my favorite details about the beholder is how they procreate. No, I'm not about to go into some 50 Shades of Grey horror whatever. Beholders create other beholders through their dreams. The only way a new beholder can get created is if it is dreamt up by an existing beholder. And beholders aren't the only thing that can be made from a beholder's dreams. They can literally warp reality, create things that shouldn't exist, make more minions, create beholders that think they're dead and turn into death tyrants. Even with all of these details and seemingly restrictions on when and where you can use a beholder, there are so many different cool ways you can put it into your campaign. The first time I used a beholder, it was actually pretty boring. It was honestly just a fetch quest. The party needed a central eye of a fully grown beholder. They were going to use the central eye as an ingredient in an antidote for a cursed plague that had ravaged the cleric's home village. The beholder knew things about the main villain, but the party killed him before he could monologue. The second time I used a beholder was also not as a main villain, but as a means to get the Eye of Vecna into the hands of the party. Yes, a beholder had attuned to the Eye of Vecna, one of the most powerful magic items in the game. It made for an extremely intense fight, and it disintegrated a longtime NPC companion. Those are the only two times I can recall that I've used a beholder, and honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I have yet to make a beholder that is a main villain or a long-lasting NPC, like Kvarn, the first big villain in Critical Role, or the Xanathar, the crime lord of Waterdeep in the Forgotten Realms. Hopefully, you'll be able to use some of these ideas in your campaign, since I haven't gotten around to it yet. Maybe a beholder saw a nearby dragon as a threat to its power. They went in themselves or sent their minions in to kill the dragon, and when they were done, they discovered a clutch of dragon eggs. The beholder hatched them and raised them, and now they have 4 or 5 extremely powerful minions. Maybe the party would only know about 1 or 2 of these dragons and slowly realize that there are more dragons and realize that they answer to something more powerful. I would assume that it was a more powerful dragon, like their parent or something. When they find out that it's a beholder that's in charge of these dragons, they will be completely taken aback. Maybe the beholder in your game could have control over its own dreams, letting it create whatever it wants, even its own minions. Its lair would be filled with gazers, or maybe every single minion it has would have the head of a beholder, like some sort of Cyclops Medusa. Oh God. Can you imagine a fire giant with the head of a beholder? Maybe your beholder sends a different kind of chill down your player's spines, since she has an ice theme. Most of her eye rays would be cold themed, maybe a couple fire ones to throw the party off balance. And her minions would all be from the Arctic, a pack of winter wolves or a family of remores. Really, any elemental theme could work. Fire, acid, wind, you pick. Maybe your beholder is actually good-natured and doesn't immediately kill enemies on sight. Instead, they do the best they can to live in a normal society. They would struggle with how they look, being bullied all the time, and they'd have problem with the fact that whatever they dream becomes a reality, from ice cream stands to swarms of locusts. And despite everything, they just enjoy spending time with people and talking to them. That book title would definitely catch my eye. My therapist is a beholder. Maybe your beholder was cursed and now they can't fly. The only way they can get places is by rolling and pushing themselves along with their eye stalks. They would hate that. When you're building your beholder, remember that there are official customization options for those eye rays, and they don't all have to be used in combat. For example, the normal beholder stat block has both a disintegration ray and a telekinesis ray. Using the combinations of these two things, they could build pretty much anything, using disintegration to cut out the stones and telekinesis to move them into place. Maybe their mini wall of ice could be used to block off an escape route, either in front of the beholder to prevent the players from escaping, or behind the beholder as it flees from something it realizes is more powerful than it is. And whether you use a beholder or not in your campaign, remember everything is going to be okay.